Welcome to the Brand Theory Podcast, the podcast for helping you uncover your passion, realize your purpose, and take the aligned action. Together, we're going to prove the theory that when we live our lives on brand, the possibilities become limitless. I'm your host, Danielle Marquesi, branding expert and business coach. Let's get started. Welcome back to another episode of the Brand Theory Podcast. I hope your day and your week is going amazingly. Thank you for joining me for another episode. Today, I want to talk to you about something I published a blog post about last week and shared a little bit of it on my social media, but I thought the conversation needed to be continued or reiterated because I know this is something a lot of entrepreneurs deal with, myself included, and that is the feeling that your business is failing. So if I'm being honest, the statement, I feel like my business is failing, is a statement, a thought that I've had many times before. In the beginning of my business, the middle of my business, where I am now, and I'm sure it'll creep up again. And I've felt that for so many reasons over the years, whether I didn't hit an income goal I set for myself, or no one signs up for a free training, or I have 20 people sign up, but then no one actually signs up, or I said something I consider stupid on a podcast interview, or comparison gets the best of me and I believe someone else is doing it better than me. Prospective clients saying no and feeling like I did something wrong, or having prospective clients say yes, getting excited, and then feeling a sudden crash of emotion because they changed their minds, having one amazing financial month and then months of crickets, and the list goes on and on. There's no rhyme or reason why these things make us feel like such failures, but then again, there is, because our businesses are like our children, right? We want them to succeed and we're willing to do most of the time whatever it takes to make that happen. A lot of us want to leave our 9-to-5s to make it happen, or we want to supplement our income good enough to put our kids through baseball camp, or whatever it is that you have your goal for your business, whether that's to supplement or to completely replace your income, grow your lifestyle. I don't care what it is. You have a goal for your business. So when things don't go the way we plan, it's really hard to switch that perspective from feeling like a failure or looking at it like it was a failure to this is a learning opportunity and this is a step in the right direction and there's something to be learned here. I also used to think that I was the only one feeling this, but that is so far from the truth. Our businesses, again, are our babies. They hold our dreams and our passions, and a lot of times our livelihoods. We put our heart, soul, the blood, sweat, and tears into building the business, into creating one-of-a-kind programs and offerings for our communities. It's only natural to feel that defeated feeling when we don't see the immediate or direct results from our efforts. And again, that may be like a training, or we don't get enough likes on our posts, or we feel like people are judging us. There's all these feelings that creep in. And if you're feeling that, I literally want you to say to yourself, I am not alone, because you are not alone. I'm literally here telling you, I feel like I've said literally too many times now, but I'm here telling you that I have been through this myself, and to keep going, because the feeling will pass. Let's look at it as there's something to learn from it. There's something to be adjusted. There's something to be taken from this quote unquote failure that you're experiencing to move you into the next phase, the next step, the next strategy, the next anything to push you forward. I also want you to think about this. These are oftentimes things you don't see online, is this, or these other accounts or businesses you look up to, the ones that seem to really have it all together. They seem like they're making money hand over foot that you can only dream of, and they're traveling places, like when travel was a thing, that are filled in your Pinterest boards. They're buying dream houses. They're booking out clients right and left. They seem, again, like they've got it all together. But the truth is, these people have failed more times than they've succeeded to get where they are today. The difference is, well, maybe not the difference, but the thing that they're not showing you is how many times they have failed and how many times they have had to take a moment, take a step back, put into perspective what it is that they have failed on, and figure out how to move forward based on that current result to be able to get to the result that they want. There's 1,017,529 and one half ways to make a business work. That's not an exact figure. It just seems more dramatic when I put it like that. But that doesn't necessarily mean that every way is right for you, your business, and your goals. So sometimes it does take a little bit of experimenting to figure out what strategies are going to work for you and the ones that you're actually going to enjoy working on and the ones that are actually going to grow your business to get the results that you want. I'm going to repeat that again. There's a million ways to make a business work. And sometimes it does take a little experimenting to figure out what's going to work for you, your business, and your goals for yourself and your business. So with all of that said, in this experimental phase, what am I supposed to do, you may be asking, when those feelings of failure creep in? So there's a few things that I do, and take this all with a grain of salt, take it or leave it, but I just want to share this with you. The first thing is to reflect. Take some time to reflect on why you feel like this, why you're feeling like this experiment or this training or this post or this program was a quote unquote failure, and write out all these feelings, or just think about all these feelings that you're feeling about it and why it is that you're feeling like a failure. Maybe you didn't get enough signups that you wanted, or maybe you didn't see the financial income result that you wanted to see. Just write it all out. Just get it all out. And now I want you to actively switch that perspective and reclaim what you know to be true. So here's an example. This has happened to me probably more than 3 times, that a prospective client said no, and I was all excited, and I had the contract ready to go, send them the contract, send them the invoice, and you hear crickets. And you follow up with them, and eventually they say, I've actually changed my mind, I find someone new, or I decided I can't afford it right now. Gosh, it feels heartbreaking. It feels like the biggest roller coaster, King Dakar at Six Flags in New Jersey. It feels like that complete change, 180 change from up and down emotion. And it's scary, and you start thinking about how you're going to spend that money and what it's going to do for you and how it's going to make you feel. And then all of a sudden it's crash, and you feel like you're crashing and burning, and you literally start to question, there's that literally again, you start to question why it is you even did this in the first place. That's how dramatic it feels in that moment. And if you felt that way, I want you to know that you're not alone. That's very real. But let's actively try to switch that perspective. So for me, that example is that prospective client saying no makes room for someone more aligned with what I have to offer. We will both benefit from a working relationship where we are both excited. So basically, me switching that perspective of, well, I'm a failure because they said no or they backed out, to, well, that's making room for someone who's more aligned, gets me excited again to work with that person eventually who is more aligned. And it gets me more excited to show up again on social media, to put out the email, to record the podcast, to do whatever, in the position of, I can't wait to meet that dream client of mine. I can't wait to create these designs for them, these strategies for them, whatever it is you offer, because I know that they are extremely the right fit. And I know that they're so excited about the investment they're making with me, because I am going to give them the results that they want to help create their own next level results in their own business. So that's step 1, reflecting and switching the perspective. Number 2, lean on your support system. Now, for me, there's a select friends and family members who are in on the ups and downs of my entrepreneurship journey, who I trust to hear me out with no judgment or to help me gain that perspective I need. I've had plenty of times where friends from masterminds I've been a part of had just heard me out, heard out my fears, or heard me cry about losing these clients, or having these clients change their names, or just things that just come up, money things, whatever. They just hear me out, and I know they're never going to judge me, but they're also not afraid to say, okay, let's switch that perspective. How can we see this as a blessing? How can we see that client changing their minds or not renewing their contract as making room for the more aligned client? So it's always good to have that reminder, or that person or those people who can give you a kick in the pants and tell you to stop whining when you need it. If you don't have those people, I am always here for you. Shoot me a DM. I can give you the kick in the pants that you need. The third thing is change what I'm listening to. So instead of listening to the false stories I'm telling myself, like I'm a failure, or I am never going to get out of this rut, or no one's ever going to want to work with me again, blah, 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 I find something more motivational, inspirational, or instructional to listen to. Maybe that's a podcast. Maybe that's someone else's free training. Maybe that's literally a conversation with my friend. Maybe that's, I don't know, a rerun of Oprah or something. I don't care what it is. But I really actively try to focus on putting that positivity back in my head so that I can actively change that negative perspective of mine. And if you don't know what to listen to, you don't know what podcast to listen to, take a look at some of the older episodes of the Brand Theory podcast, and especially the one with my guest, Sophie Thorne. And we focus on all about scaling your business, but we do talk about finding the right methods specifically for your business and to see the growth that you want to see. So really kind of what we were talking about before of there's 1,010,100 ways to build a business. Should we really focus on talking about or reiterating the fact that there are certain things that will work for you and your business. So if you need a new place to start, new positive energy on things, maybe start with that one. The fourth thing, ask for help. Now this is a big one and something I know we entrepreneurs can sometimes be scared to do. There's a certain part of us, I think, that may feel like we have to figure it all out for ourselves. And I know that was definitely something I experienced and still do sometimes experience. But if that were true, I would 100% not be here today. We love our businesses so much. And we would, I believe, bite someone at the flagpole at 3 p.m. after the last school bell in order to defend our businesses. And when we're so close to something and we've got this whole like mama bear attitude going for our businesses, sometimes we just temporarily lose sight of that bigger picture, which is fine. And again, this has happened to me. I'm a brand specialist. I help people build their brands or help them see things that they can't see for themselves. And sometimes I can't even do that for my own business. And that's why having that support system in place and being able to ask for help, being okay to ask for help is so important for me. Sometimes it just takes a conversation or several with someone who's been through the process before to help us figure out where we should shift our focus next in order to reach our goals sooner rather than later. So maybe for you, that's a business coach. Maybe for you, that's a friend. Maybe for you, that's a pastor. Maybe for you, that's a spiritual leader. Whatever it is, don't be afraid to use those resources that you have. If you don't have those resources in place, again, I am always here for you. I do offer free brand strategy calls for that exact purpose of me kind of just chatting with you and hearing you out on your ups and downs that you're experiencing right now, where you want to go next in terms of business growth, income growth, all of that. And I take a look at your brand and business as a whole and see if there's any places where we can fill some gaps or make things a bit more clear and kind of elevate the brand presence overall and how you're showing up through every modality of your business. So if they're interested in that, definitely have some free spots available. But again, use the resources that you have in place. And the last point I want to share with you is the most important. It's to keep going. Once I've really allowed myself to feel the feels, to reflect, I get back up again and try again. So in those moments of failure, I know this is like really backwards to think about, but I'm almost like grateful to be in that moment. Even if I'm crying and I want to rip my hair out and I'm so frustrated with something, there's comes a point where I feel all that and I let it all out. And then there's a point of almost like clarity where I will to myself say, okay, I'm good. Thank you for this experience. And that's kind of the first step to realizing I'm okay. I will figure this out. I just have to keep going. And I keep going because I believe in myself and my mission for my business. And I recognize what I'm doing. My voice is getting all shakier. I recognize what I'm doing is bigger than just myself. I'm here for a reason, for a purpose, and there are people out there who need the help that I have to offer. And the same is true for you. I want you to keep going because people need you. And if you haven't heard that lately, or if you've forgotten that lately, I want you to hear that again. You have to keep going after you feel like you've failed, because you're here for a reason. You're here for a purpose, and people need you. I hope you know how worthy you are of this life you want to create for yourself, that you can do this, and that you are meant for this. And if you need a little pick-me-up along the way, or a little reminder of just how great your potential is, I am here for you. Hit me up in those DMs or book one of those calls, but no matter what you do, just keep going. And just as one more reminder, the On Brand shop is open. We've got hoodies, crew necks, the most comfortable sweatpants you'll ever own, t-shirts, hats, eco-friendly tote bags, pillows, and these all serve as reminders to live on brand. The reminder that you are worthy to create this life for yourself, to make the conscious decision to live unapologetically, making choices from a place of alignment and authenticity in every area of your life. So definitely go check out that shop if you feel called to. If you also feel called to, I'd love to hear how you are enjoying this episode, what you got out of this episode. And if you could leave me a review or a star rating, I would be so incredibly grateful. With that, I will say farewell. I'll talk to you soon. Remember, keep going. You got this.